All right, Pop, so
What's going on?
what's good, man?
Hey.
We were together on Saturday night watching the fight. What was your prediction for this Tank Hector Garcia fight going into a Saturday night, man?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't have a prediction other than that Gervonta was going to win the fight. He was going to knock the guy out. Just didn't know what round. I did think it was going to be earlier, more on the, before
Before 8
rounds.
Okay,
Yeah, before 8 rounds. I thought
Tank starts off kind of slow. Sometimes that's the only thing. Like when I think about Tank, when I think about him fighting like guys like hopefully he will fight. Well, he's gonna fight Ryan Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not scheduled as of yet, but that's supposed to be in April.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that fight's gonna happen when they say it's gonna happen. But let's just say that fight's gonna happen. So he'll be fighting Ryan Garcia in April. I hope that he fights Devin. He's got to fight Devin Haney. They have to get into the ring at some point. Devin Haney, even though I don't really think that he's true undisputed, but he's got all the belts.
Yeah, he's a good boxer. He's a good sound
Shakur
boxer.
Stevenson as well. They're gonna, I believe they need to fight too.
But
before he moves up in weight to 140, man. He likes to cut me off.
But one of the things that I wanted to say,
I'm trying to set something up.
Skip. Skip, will you let me do
I'm the Batman in this situation.
Can
I'm
I do
the
my
host in
monologue
this situation. I try to set it up.
Oh my
He doesn't
God.
let me set it up.
Hey, look, one of the things I liked about Gervonta.
Just call him Tank. Just call him Tank. You mess up names. I'm like, my dad he is known to mess up some names.
Hey, look.
Before you mess it up, just say Tank.
Tank.
You've been doing good, but I'm saying before you mess it up, go ahead.
All right, Tank. All right, Tank.
What do you want to say?
The one thing I like about him, man, number one, he's a skilled fighter.
Absolutely.
And the thing about Tank is, and I believe this is why he starts so slow, the boy studies the opponent. He feels him out.
He's downloading the data.
He's testing them. He's making little moves just to kind of see what the other fighters' tendencies are. And then he knows that they're going to fall for certain shots that he throws. Because one thing you got to know about Tank is Tank punches at different angles.
Absolutely.
And when he punches at different angles, he's a southpaw who can go conventional. Right. But not only that, he has power. He has arm length, okay? And he moves well. And I mean, with all those things,
you think he is good? I mean, he's
if you look at no, I'm talking about his arm length. If you check out his arms, this dude got long arms.
Okay.
And when he ducks down and throws those uppercuts. I mean, he hit you with uppercut, the overhand right, and he just showed me, as he always has. But he has patience now. That's the thing I like about him.
But he had more activity. See, the thing about, if you guys remember the Rolly Romero fight, he had patience, but in my opinion, I thought he wasn't active enough. I wanted to see him be more active.
Right.
Because here's the thing. When you go back to, he's my favorite fighter since Floyd. So I watched a lot of Floyd coming up. So when you think about Floyd was not going to let you get a bunch of early rounds to the point where now he now has to really. Well, Floyd wasn't really a knockout artist, especially in the second half of his career.
Right.
So Floyd's not gonna let you win more than like a couple of rounds. The only thing with Tank sometimes is because he gets off to a slower start.
Mm-hmm.
A guy like, for example, when he fought Rolly might have won a few of those earlier rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So if it ends up going the distance, now you got to take it to the scorecards.
Yeah, especially for a fighter.
That's the only
danger
zone when he starts fighting guys like Shakur and Devin Haney.
Right, but because the problem with Garcia is he was kind of like trying to study Tank.
Right.
So neither fighter was throwing a lot of punches. All right. So the rounds were close.
But it picked up in I think the third round.
I'm talking about those first few rounds.
Right.
So Tank can afford to give up one round here and one round there, but I wouldn't let a string of rounds go because you're just trying to study a fighter.
Right.
And you got to keep that jab active, and
He head hunts sometimes because he knows he has. What did you call it? What did you say after the fight?
Overhand right.
No, what did you say about his? You and my uncle were comparing him to Roberto Duran.
Oh, hands of stone. Hands of stone. Yeah, because he punches heavy, man, and sometimes guys don't know it until they feel it, and once they feel it, like this guy Garcia, this guy, you could see how all of a sudden when he got hit with that shot, he started backing up. And when you saw him backing up, you knew that he felt that.
And it was
punch.
towards the end of the round. It was a good shot, but it was a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
He threw a few good shots towards the end of that round that really kind of stunned Garcia. But did you think that he was going to quit?
No. That surprised me. I didn't know what was going on over in the corner, and obviously once they went over and checked him out, and he complained about having some problems with his eyesight on one side.
That's crazy.
You know, he realized that. And I think sometimes these fighters, man,
you know, he was losing some vision in his right eye. That was crazy.
And it's a smart thing to do, not to go out there and put your life in danger. But the problem is, you got some guys out there that are warriors, man. They will feel like they want to die in the ring, which I don't see you doing that, man. This is not Apollo Creed. You know what I'm saying?
Rocky, right?
I mean, that's what he wanted to do. And it was like, no, brother, you got a big house, you got millions of dollars. Why are you going to do something like that to yourself?
But, Pops, you know what? This is something I want to say about Tank. I wonder how you feel about this. I still don't think, even with the dominant performances he's had, and him just being like, I mean, he's at a spot now where he's he gives respect to Mayweather, and what Mayweather Promotions was able to do for him.
Right.
But at this point in his career, he's gonna sell out these arenas by himself because of what he's done inside the ring. He's an exciting, explosive, lethal type of boxer, man. And I still don't think that we've seen 50% of everything that's in his toolbox, man. Everything that's in his arsenal. I still don't feel like we've seen even 50% of it. That's the scary thing about Tank. I don't even think we've seen half of what he truly has to offer, because he's so superior to, compared to a lot of these guys that he's fighting, and he has that power.
And you got to give it to him. You got to give it to him. His work ethic is good, even though you hear about some stuff that's going on in his personal life.
Outside the ring.
But obviously his work ethic is very good. His trainers are doing a good job with him.
Right.
So I mean, all in all, if he keeps the right people around him, gets away from that crew that gets him kind of out there in that party scene and acting a fool, I think he can, have a successful boxing career. But if he continues to do what he's doing with his life, because off out of the ring, because bottom line is, when you're that young, you're making that kind of money, and you have a group of people with you, you got to make sure it's the right kind. I mean, look at Allen Iverson, the way he used to move around, man, with a crew.
Right.
And I mean, he was spending plenty of money, and he didn't put the work ethic in, but he was just so talented and had so much to offer the game. He was able to perform at a high level. So I hope he doesn't get to the point where he starts taking time off and thinking that he's just arrived and he doesn't have to work as hard to be prepared for these big fights.
He seems a lot, in terms of boxing and his preparation and everything, he seems a lot more mature even now than he did at one point in time when he was still fighting on Floyd's undercards. Right. Because I remember when he missed weight a particular fight some years ago. But I feel like that particular situation, he was able to kind of grow from that.
Right.
So I don't know about his personal life. I don't know the man personally, but just from a boxing standpoint, he seems like he's becoming more and more mature. Like you said, he's more patient in the ring. And he speaks with more humility when he's talking about his opponents, man. I mean, he'll get into they'll get into some disrespectful stuff, like him and Rolly. That was pretty disrespectful, that back and forth. But other than that, like, he showed respect to this guy, Hector. He didn't look past him. He's even showing some respect early to Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia has been doing a lot of the trash talk. So it's gonna be great to see, man. But he doesn't remind you of, like, you were a big Mike Tyson fan. He doesn't remind you of like a mini Tyson.
No, not yet, because Mike Tyson, he didn't smile at you. He looked across the ring, man, and most guys, man, were ready to give up the fight and lose the fight before the bell rang.
Right. That's something that a lot of people say. That
when he looked over at that other side of the ring, you were just thinking, okay, what can I do, and how can I take a punch that's not that hard, but I can go down, I can collect my money at the end of the fight, take a TKO. And get out of this thing, because most guys didn't want to stand toe to toe with him.
Psychologically.
Oh boy, did he
coming into it.
But I was about to say Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods did the same thing in the golf course.
That's true. But that's true.
But yeah, Mike Tyson was, that was a pit bull. That was like one of them guys, man, that you had to put the leash on him when he came in the ring, because he would get out of control. And he did also have the personal issues out of the ring,
right,
because he was young, came into a lot of money, right, and next thing you know, you get into that party scene and that type of thing, get some of the wrong people around you, it can cause a problem for your career. So
Yeah, but you know, my dad, he was falling asleep before the fight. He's falling asleep before the fight, but I got to give it to you, man.
Hey man,
You stayed up for.
I just wanted to get my 15-minute nap in between those 4 fights because I must tell you, if I had something to do with, I would shift the time of those fights a little earlier because I think they go too late.
That was crazy, right? Now, typically these fights are in Vegas, like on somewhere on the West Coast. Well, he's had some fights in Atlanta, places like Atlanta, Brooklyn, but I don't remember any of Tank's fights. Or I'm trying to think of the last time I watched the fight other than UFC, where it started after 12 o'clock. This fight started after 1.
Because I think the problem was all those fights before, the undercard fights, they went like the full fight.
Which wasn't really expected.
Only one fight ended maybe.
Especially Boots Ennis.
Earlier,
he was on a 19 KOs, 19 straight KOs.
Yeah, you thought these were going to be some early finishes, but they were kind of lengthy fights, man. So that was the reason. That's what happens. He had 3 fights before his that we actually
saw on pay-per-view.
Yeah,
it was fights before they.
But I just think that sometimes they need to back off. All they need is 2 fights, two
No.
fights.
Still have the same amount of fights, but just move it up to. Why not start the pay-per-view coverage at 7?
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Or at least at 8 o'clock. I'm like, man, the coverage started around 9 o'clock, and then, like I said, the main event. Then they weren't walking out the tunnel until like after 12:45. I mean, I'm still young, but I
like to munch while I'm watching the fight. Next thing you know, I've gone through a pizza. I've gone through the chips.
Drink some black
I've
coffee,
gone through all these different things to keep myself going. And then my cousin forced me to drink some black coffee.
He never drinks
because
black coffee.
I had to drive back home. Right. So I made it through. And trust me,
it was worth it.
It was a good night.
It was
good fellowship. We had a good time.
It was worth it, man. You guys to hit that subscribe button and become part of our world and become part of our community. So we're looking forward to it.
Love to have you.
Batman, Robin, MJ, Scotty. I'll do that for now.
Y'all find out the truth when you tune in.